How much time? 30? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you. What?
Do you know these tits, Errol?
I know a lot of tits, Governor, but I don't know any quite as stupid as these two.
Hello. Already I can feel there's a real buzz around Washington right now. You can sense that there's a new leader in town, that he's a true one-off, a pioneer in business and in politics. Many people love him. Others love to hate him. But to us, he's just Peter. And Peter is the right person to help us work with President Trump and to take this special relationship from strength to strength.
Did you see that? Did you?
It's 10 bells, people, on a Wet Your Whistle Wednesday, which can mean only one thing. It's the Brews at 10 on my left eye, and Keith's Catchphrases comes with it. A very warm welcome to everybody on the stream. I'm your humble host, Lefty. Let's brew this thing. We have a quality quartet in the chat. The Shouty Bloke, Doc Davies, Aaron Gray and JK. Nice to see the four of you there. Getting in nice and early, so it's nice to see, and filling out the poll as well. So today it must be decided who the mystery contender in Keith's Catchphrases will be. If you're not a regular on the channel and you're wondering what I'm going on about, I'll be coming on to that very shortly. But please do place your votes for your preference. We narrowed it down to 2. Last week it was a tie between Clear and Commitments, so that's tonight's choices. There can be only one. It's Highlander rules, people. There must be a decision, even if I end up flipping a coin at the end of the stream, lest it be a tie again, but you never know. So please do vote in the poll. Let us know how you're brewing yourselves in the chat as well. Aaron, I'm assuming you're referring to the Filton 24, yeah. It would be my distinct pleasure to get onto that later on to share the good news about some acquittals where that case is concerned, with PAL action. That's something we've been bringing up quite a bit on the channel, being fellow protesters ourselves, also supporters of Defend Our Juries and so on. Do I have any channel updates before we get going? Let me think. This is mostly ad lib, by the way. I don't know if any of you picked up on that by now. Oh, yes, if anybody hasn't watched not yesterday's, Monday's stream. Or the last live stream, sorry. Yesterday, even. Please hesitate, because I'm waiting for a review, because it's currently on limited or no ads at the moment, so don't know what all that's about. Might be something to do with one or two of the tags. I don't know, we sort of minor cultural not cultural appropriation, creative appropriation, I should say. But apart from that, all good. All good and well. I mean, it's got to be a good day. When Mandelson isn't in Parliament, but Corbyn still is. That's a reason to be cheerful today, because it's my understanding that was all made official earlier, with an announcement in the House of Lords. So his British political career appears to be done and dusted. Excellent news, isn't it? Something else that's excellent news, we've had 5 gifted memberships there. I can see in the chat. MIDI Doctors, thank you very much for that show of support. Let's please give a shout out to MIDI Doctors in the chat, everybody. Please spread that appreciation and give the plaudits to MIDI Doctors. And update the total, that increases the record. We're very happy to now be on a record 190, as it is, towards the goal of 250. Thanks again, MIDI. Really do appreciate that. I think that's a perfect time to thank all of the existing members now. Of course, be my pleasure to add the 5 just gifted onto this list of marvellous members. However long you've helped to support the channel with a membership, we do thoroughly appreciate it. Great to see some members in the chat as well. Other ways that you can help to support this stream and the channel are with super chats or super stickers if you're watching right now live. If you're watching back later on, there's also super thanks and a buy me a coffee page if you don't have the means to contribute via YouTube. If you'd like to know the link for that, just look in the description of the stream. And it's in any other video that's out on the channel, so please do check out some other content, give it a share. You can help support the channel with just a few clicks of a button. Including sharing on social media. We would love you to give us a follow on Blue Sky, Twitter or Mastodon. At MyLeftEyeUK is the handle you're looking for. And it's done it again! Sorry, this happened yesterday. A long-time member of the channel, Cole Dyer, I had to give a oral shout out to, as I just have done again though, because and I double checked that it was properly framed before I came on, so that's a bit of an anomaly. Just at the end there, Cold Eye's name was cut out. Apologies. So, 1,000 thank yous once again. Dear members, the Brew crew. Oh, I almost had it then, the perfect... Do you know the phrase, there's no I in team, but there's an M and an E, that sort of thing? Team, but T as in the drink, hyphen M, my left eye, but there's a my left eye in T, something like that. We'll work on that one. Phil, make a note of that. I can't do that, I'm busy. Okay. There's no I in team, but there's my left eye in T. We'll work around that one for now. Could be getting worse. Not as bad as it is for Starmer though, I guess.
Oh God.
More about that very shortly. Still 50-50 in the poll. Very early days yet. It's Highlander rules though, as I said. There can only be one. We need a winner this evening. So please do vote on the poll if you're just joining us.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yes, we can. So obviously PMQ's been the main staple of tonight's stream. A couple of polls to get into afterwards, as we always like to do on Wednesdays after the session in the House of Commons. The Filton 24 story, as we've already brought up, some good news there to focus on. And a couple of other tidbits. There will be an episode of A Song of Ice and Fire after PMQs as well. So stick around, get comfy, put a big pot of tea on, and come in House of Commons. Excuse me, I just aged 50 years. Have you put in my drink, Philip? Okay. All settings are good. Get cracking right into proceedings this evening, people. No comedy clips. Warming up, hopefully we'll be able to provide ourselves with some own comedy, our own comedy ourselves during the session. And just a reminder, well, two reminders. First of all, no spoilers please, it's a first time viewing for myself. Aside from the intro and knowing who will ask question number 1, I've not seen anything of the session, so no spoilers in chats, no spoilers in chats. Do appreciate that. Also, people, we've got another hidden feature this evening within Keith's Catchphrases, so I won't give anything away, no spoilers or anything. It is something different this time. It was the Chagos Islands, if you'll recall, a couple of weeks back, because we had Deputy PMQs last week. Keith was off in the Orient, but he's back now, and so's the hidden feature. So let's see who might trigger it. I'm pretty certain it will get triggered. Even though I've not seen it, we wouldn't have the game Keith's Catchphrases if a lot of it wasn't entirely and utterly predictable. Clear's just taken a bit of a lead in the poll. So Clear and Commitment are the two. There can only be one, so this will be for the 10th and final contender in the league. 2025-2026 season.
Socialists.
Oh my God.
Alright, we'll get cracking with Keith's Catchphrases. Just one moment. I have a circle here. I don't know how you're doing on your devices. We had a bit of buffering yesterday. One or two buffering issues. Do let me know if you're affected. We have had to tweak a few settings recently, but hopefully things are coming through clear. 720 you should have, at least. We're hoping. Okay. Unless it starts being a dick again. Okay.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Right, what's all this about, people? For anybody who doesn't know, just a very quick explanation. We pit two phrases or words against one another, ones that Keir Starmer that is, regularly uses during PMQs and any time he's speaking, let's be honest. There are a few rules and caveats. So it's one-on-one every game, but it's a league format overall. First of all, the contending phrases have to be spoken by Starmer. Second of all, it's winner stays on unless all the other contenders have been played, in which case we swap both. We also do that if it's a draw as well. Variations are allowed. For example, past tenses, pluralisation, that kind of thing. I'll be the judge of the variations. Within the league, it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, but nothing for a loss. Nothing at all. These are the current standings in the league. Current leader, Security, suffered their first ever loss last time out. So went on a streak of 4, but then lost to this week's defending champion, who will be Change. But Security is still 2 points ahead of strong opponent Postman Swat there with Deliver. In third place, Budget. Fourth, Change, as I said, and in fifth place, Plan. But having played only one. Not a lot of activity in the bottom half of the table. Everybody's played at least one, except for the as yet unnamed mystery contender in 10th place, as you can see there. But that's where you good people come in, if you'd all kindly vote on the poll. So not a single point among any of the bottom 5. However, it was a decent scoring loss for Deal, you can see there, with 3 mentions but still 0 points. And that's about as exciting as the bottom half of the Keith's Catchphrases League gets, people. Pardon me, I've hit the microphone. Right. Everybody clear on the rules? Any questions? Just let me know in the chat. I'll try and keep my eye on the chats. But obviously, have to keep an ear out for phrases. My left eye out for other things as well. But we'll get into things post-haste. Okay, you can see this week's challenger is going to be Fix, Knob the Builder there. Just bring him up. There's Knob the Builder. You can't quite make it out because of the scores. So yeah, up against Change, defending champion. And we do have a hidden mystery feature. All would be revealed should that get mentioned, so strap yourselves in. Let's get over to the big soggy flannel that is Lindsay Hoyle and kick off proceedings.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Joanna Baxter.
Question number 1, please, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On World Cancer Day, we're publishing our National Cancer Plan to transform care for patients. It means investment in cutting-edge technology so our exceptional frontline staff can give world-class care. It funds more tests and scans, meaning faster diagnosis and treatment, and tailored treatment in specialist centres. And, Mr. Speaker, we'll cover the cost of every family whose child needs travel for cancer care, because the focus should only be on recovery, not worrying about money. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Baxter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Up and down the country, this government is restoring pride in place by investing in our high streets, the beating heart of our communities. Yet in Paisley and Renfrewshire South, the SNP-led Renfrewshire Council has done the opposite, sitting on their hands whilst the owners of the Paisley Centre, who received planning permission to develop the centre some years ago, have sought support to transform our town centre. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that it is only the SNP's lack of ambition and failure of leadership that is letting Paisley down, and will he work with me to restore pride in Paisley's town centre?
Well, the polling in Scotland for Labour gets increasingly worse, with the SNP looking set to have a majority, a very clear majority, come the next election. They normally hold off on the SNP bashing until one of the SNP members poses a question, but they're getting off to a pretty quick start. Perhaps it's also a bit of distraction from other events that have happened this week, but just pretty interesting that the first thing they launch into is SNP bashing.
She's a superb champion for Paisley. Her constituents deserve a Scottish Government that matches her dedication. Mr. Speaker, for our part, we've delivered record funding settlement. We're investing £280 million in Pride in Place across 14 Scottish communities. We've secured shipbuilding on the Clyde for over a decade and just announced an AI growth zone in Lanarkshire. The choice, Mr. Speaker, is clear. A third decade of failure under the SNP or real change for Scotland under Anas Sarwar.
Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Baden.
And we have our opening scorer of the night. It's defending champion Change, and Kemi's about to come in. Just change the score before we hear from Kemi. Let's see what she's got. 6 questions. What's in the locker? Will the hidden feature be unlocked? Who knows? So many exciting things to consider. Right, 1-0 it is. On we go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The whole House will be disgusted by the latest revelations about Jeffrey Epstein. All of us want to see his victims get justice. But the political decision to appoint Epstein's close associate, Peter Mandelson,
Hidden
as
feature
Britain's
unlocked.
ambassador to Washington.
Hidden feature unlocked. Please try to remain calm during this extraordinary event.
Well, it didn't take very long, did it? Of course. Mandy was bound to come up. That's the hidden feature. So, last time around, Kemi had Chagos Islands, but this time I'm going to throw it open to anyone who isn't Keith, anytime they mention the Serpentine, former ambassador of the United Kingdom to the United States, so on and so forth, titles, prick, bastard, pervert, whatever. Yeah, that will get a score, so just very quickly set this up. Activate Mandelson. Right. So that's one. We'll count that as one, of course, with it being activated. Doesn't count towards the league. It's just a bit of fun on the side. So just to remind you all, that is anybody apart from Keith who says his name will get a point.
Goes to the very heart of this Prime Minister's judgment. When he made that appointment, was he aware that Mandelson had continued his friendship even after
I have a
Epstein's
feeling it's going to be
conviction
quite
for
high
child
scoring.
prostitution?
Simple question. Mr. Speaker, let me start with...
So they won't count if Keith says them. It's kind of, I know it's his kind of inverted. That's the word I was struggling to find there. So we have an anti-Keith catchphrase from anybody else apart from Keith. Let's just update that now, 2-0. Hope you're all keeping up. This is tremendously exciting.
Where I must with the victims of Epstein, and all of our thoughts are with them. Can I also say our thoughts are with all those who lost jobs, savings and livelihoods in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament and my party. Mr. Speaker, he lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein.
Notice how it's gone down to purely last name terms now. What was it he said back in the day again? I can't remember.
But to us, he's just Peter.
Yes, that was it, wasn't it? That was it. And nothing else. But now, oh no, you know, never liked the guy. He always came across as a bit of a snake to me. God. They knew exactly what his reputation was and they took him on anyway. I'm referring mostly to Keith and Morgan McSweeney here with the they, but they don't have plausible deniability where this is concerned. And you can write the next line of the poem and end it in liability, because that's what Mandelson is.
Before and during his tenure as ambassador, I regret appointing him. If I knew then what I know now, he would never have been anywhere near government. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Cabinet Secretary, with my support, took the decision to refer material to the police.
His career and his reputation is decades old. Decades old. He was only appointed as US ambassador a couple of years ago, you could have just rang up Slick Tony. I said, you know, by the way, back in the day, was it the 90s? Whenever it was? When Blair had to sack Mandelson, early 2000s. Excuse me. But no. It'd be like dragging someone like Johnson back into the fray, or potentially worse. Potentially a whole lot worse, especially when there are thousands of mentions of his name in these files as well. So not just with the corruption, but also with the proclivities, the double-edged sword, as it were. Of course, he's a complete and utter ticking time bomb.
Police, and there is now a criminal investigation. I've instructed my team to draft legislation to strip Mandelson of his title and wider legislation to remove disgraced peers. And this morning, I've agreed with His Majesty the King that Mandelson should be removed.
Oh, really? Do you mean the brother of the other guy who's implicated? I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh. That just goes to show, you know, what these sordid little circles are. All these names in Epstein's Black Book. But now that, like I said, they've reduced it to last name, surname terms and this condescending tone, a lot of them, not just Keith. Streeting's trying to do the same. He was on news rounds earlier today and made some statements yesterday, you know. Oh, good God. I didn't know anything. It's just like we don't buy it. We don't buy it.
I find that rather difficult to believe.
Removed from the list of Privy Councillors on grounds that he's brought the reputation of the Privy Council into disrepute.
Ooh, some dramatic. Did you notice the direction there? Dramatic zoom in as we get to hear from the leader of the opposition, Cammy Bad Enoch. But yeah, a slow gliding zoom in to Cammy. Let's see that again.
And this morning,
this is a new slick PMQs.
King that Mandelson should be removed from the list of Privy Councillors on grounds that he's brought the reputation of the Privy Council into disrepute.
There.
Mr. Speaker,
Dun 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 dun. Getting dramatic.
I asked the Prime Minister a very specific question. Did he know that Mandelson had continued his friendship with Epstein after the conviction? He says if he knew then what he knows now, but he did know. In January 2024, a journalist from the Financial Times informed the Prime Minister that Mandelson had stayed in Epstein's house even after that conviction for child prostitution. So did the Prime Minister conveniently forget this fact, or did he decide it was a risk worth taking?
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, as
anybody who's sorry, it's not. There we go. It's back on. Yeah, I was just saying that it's quite pathetic from Starmer in these interviews, whatnot, and at the dispatch box to now try and disassociate and all the rest of that. Completely unbelievable. But his career is certainly not safe just because Mandelson's going down. He's probably going to take a few people with him. And it wouldn't entirely surprise me if Starmer decided to jettison, shall we say, some people to save his own back, to save his own hide. And yeah, fingers will be pointed elsewhere. But certainly not Keith. Oh no, he knew nothing about it. Everybody's got to rally around the leader. Or you might get deselected from your seats, you know, or who knows, maybe even have the whip removed. This is Keith's Labour Party, excuse me, that we're talking about, people. Graham, yeah, it's all the Russians' fault. A few more of you now leaning towards clear as a potential next Keith's Catchphrases contender, so do keep your votes coming in the poll. Make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button as well, please, people. So 4 mentions for Mandelson now. This won't affect the league, but yeah, I could see it easily getting into double figures.
The House would expect. We went through a process. There was a due diligence exercise, and then there was security vetting by the security service.
I nearly went. Well, there's 2 now. I nearly went for deliver earlier, which isn't contending, and security, which would have had a double ding there if it was, but not this time. Not this time. Did you know, during this vetting process, did it say this person has a previous reputation for corruption and is probably quite the wrong one as well, in big capital letters in red?
What was not known was the depth, the sheer depth and extent of the relationship. He lied about that.
And you believed him?
For years.
And you believed him?
And new information was published in September.
Did he say something like this, Keith? Did he say, well, me being Peter, in that strange way that he referred to himself in the third person a few times, and basically his defence of his morals was that he is himself in this kind of, I don't know, holier than thou, like I said yesterday, thinks that he can walk on water kind of thing. Oh, because I am the Peter Mandelson, I therefore must be pure of morals. You believed him, did you? You believed him. Okay. But you look at the, air quotes, quality candidates that Starmer's presented us within Labour now, and it's not just Mandy that says a lot for the vetting process, the so-called vetting process. They certainly do as well. Who's this on the left of Starmer as we look? It's kind of strange. I can't unsee it now because it isn't David Lammy. I can't unsee Ken Livingstone because just my brain went, oh, it's Ken Livingstone. Of course it's not Ken Livingstone, former London mayor. Red Ken, as they used to call him. But who is that? You can only see half his face. Can't quite make it out.
Showing the relationship was materially different to what we'd been led to believe. When the new information came to light, I sacked him. But we did go through a due diligence exercise. The points...
What was the exercise? So, Peter, do you want the job? And then he went... Okay, then you get the job. Is that about as far as it went? That's what I can picture having happened. Keith, probably not far off. Should have also mentioned again, like last week, sorry, if you see the random arm flailing towards the, well, in front of Rachel Reeves's face, the chat window is actually in front of the British Sign Language demonstrator, so if you see the random arm there, don't worry. Once again, it's not somebody going absolutely mad. It's BSL.
The points that are being put to me were dealt with within that exercise. In response to the humble address this afternoon, I intend to make sure that all of the material is published. Mr. Speaker, the only exemptions are national security, if it would prejudice national security. My first duty is obviously to keep this country...
Well, I believe there's going to be a secure... what will it be? There'll be a securities select committee about this, and that'll all have to come out in front of this. Warts and all, Keith. Warts and all. From a standing position of the least popular UK Prime Minister in history, let's see what new depths that can take you to. I'll give you a clue. You'll be giving certain keys back to certain black front doors.
Pretty safe. And when we drafted humble addresses, we always put an exemption for national security, but also anything that will prejudice international.
And before anybody says, I know that there's no lock on the door, and that it only opens from one side because there's always somebody in there. In case we get comments or whatever later on, I am aware of that trivia.
National relations.
I've been
Mr.
there
Speaker,
a few
you in the
times.
House will appreciate that in the course of discussions country to country, there are very sensitive issues of security, intelligence and trade,
Been arrested
which
outside there
cannot
as well.
be disclosed without compromising the relationship between the two countries or a third country. Mr. Speaker, so that I can be totally open with the House, I should also disclose that the Metropolitan Police have been in touch with my office this morning to raise issues about...
Is it about these Ukrainian lads that keep setting fire to all your shit? Or is it something else? Is it something else? Sorry to bring that up, Keith. By accident, honestly. Sorry. Not sorry.
anything that would prejudice their investigations. We're in discussion with them about that, and I hope to be able to update the House, but I do think I should make that clear to the House at this point, because those discussions are ongoing.
Shall I clear that up?
I'm going to come to the humble address in a moment, but the Prime Minister cannot blame the process. He did know it was on Google. If the Conservative Research Department could find this information...
It was on Google. That's a search engine. It was on Google. I know. I looked myself. These are the thorough investigation methods that Badenoch looks. I guess she's just pointing out that it's no secret. Obviously, Mandelson's sordid past, and you can easily look it up. But just the way that she put it there. I saw it on Google. I got my assistant to do it for me. I don't know how you work that complicated technology.
Why couldn't number 10? On the 10th of September, when we knew this, I asked him at that dispatch box, he gave Mandelson his full confidence at that dispatch box, not once, but twice. He only sacked him after pressure from us. I am asking the Prime Minister something very specific, not about the generalities of the full extent. Can the Prime Minister tell us, did the official security vetting he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
So clear. Prime Minister?
Yes, it did. As a result, various
Bloody
questions were
hell.
put to him. I intend to disclose to this House all of them.
It did. It did. So, just to be clear, in your tremendously effective vetting procedure, someone who is not just acquainted with or nodding terms with a convicted sex trafficker and paedophile, but very close friends with, who sends weird fucking pictures on postcards to him and that kind of thing, and the what was it, the massages and the fucking balloons, that fucking weird shit that was in there. And what, he just fell through the cracks, did he? This must be, you know, your dragnet there is really effective. Fucking hell. Like, really? Really? There are no excuses. There are no excuses for having appointed him. This is going to take you down, Keith. This is going to take you down.
The national security, prejudice to international relations on one side, I want to make sure this House sees the full documentation, so it will see for itself the extent to which time and time again Mandelson completely misrepresented the extent of his relationship with Epstein and lied throughout the process, including in response to the due diligence.
Due diligence. Right, okay, yeah. If that's how you want to put it. Who else gets through your due diligence? Axe murderers? Serial arsonists? I don't know why that topic came up again, Keith. Ukraine. Excuse me. Bit of a dry throat here, people. Better wet my whistle with Wet Your Whistle Wednesday brew. Who else gets through? Joseph Goebbels, perhaps? Genghis Khan? I mean, get real.
But to us,
Speaker, I
he's
think
just
it is shocking what the Prime Minister
Peter.
has just said. How can he stand up there saying that he knew, but he just asked Peter Mandelson if the security vetting was true or false? This is a man who had been sacked from cabinet twice already for unethical behaviour. That is absolutely shocking. And that is why later today, my party will call on the government to release all documents relating to Mandelson's appointment, not just the ones the Prime Minister wants us to see. Because this government is trying to sabotage that release with an amendment to let him choose what we see. The man who appointed Mandelson in the first place.
I'm 9.
Labour MPs
as I speak
now have to decide if they want to be accessories to his cover-up. Can the Prime Minister guarantee that he won't remove the whip if they refuse to vote for his whitewash amendment?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
But I really hate to agree with Kimmy Badenoch, but she is quite right. Yeah, there's no denying that. There's no denying that. I think he's a sitting duck now. Anybody else as well. And I think Keith's going to try and rally the cabinet troops to try and, I don't know, back up his vetting process and due diligence. But they're going to make right tits out of themselves while they're doing it.
The first exemption is in relation to anything that could compromise national security. That is not a small matter, and many members on the benches opposite will know precisely why that needs to be in the exemption. When we were drafting humble addresses, when we were sitting over there, we always made sure that exemption was in because we knew how important it was to the then government. I don't think I've seen a humble address without that in, because and just to be clear, to vote to release something that would prejudice national security is wrong in principle. The second exemption...
Sure, the amount of times this happens. Do you remember when Lindsay Hoyle completely screwed up the SNP motion on the vote on Gaza and tried to use national security as an excuse? It is, you know, just how barrel-scrapingly poor, long-winded and desperate is it to try and always refer to things as a national security matter, and that's why you either don't talk about them or you didn't speak about them in the past. I think that's absolutely pathetic from Keith. There's no two ways of putting it.
Pathetic! Is in relation to to things that would prejudice international relations. There will be discussions about security and intelligence and trade, which are highly sensitive to the two countries involved and to third countries. Well,
he's an ambassador. He's an ambassador. You know, that is a highly responsible role. That is a highly responsible role. Not an excuse for things like this to just wash off like water off a duck's back. Complete. I don't know what to say.
They have to ask themselves whether they want to vote to prejudice our national security. I don't think they do. I don't think in fairness that they do.
Weak.
But can I reassure the House, Mr. Speaker? Let me reassure the House. The process for deciding what falls into those categories will not be a political process. It will be led by the Cabinet Secretary, supported by government legal teams. So they will be looking at the question of prejudice.
Yeah. He's rubber ducked, Donald ducked, whatever you want to call it. Completely done. Completely finished. What can you say about Keith?
Wimp! Pervert! Nubbend!
We will be making that decision. The only additional thing I just want to put before the House, because there was a discussion this morning with the Metropolitan Police, is that we are in discussions with them about any material that they're concerned will prejudice their investigation. We're at an early stage of that discussion, but I didn't want to have the House not know that that discussion is going on.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is talking about national security. The national security issue was appointing Mandelson in the first place.
And it didn't take long to get into double digits.
Said about the humble address is a red herring. To those Labour MPs who were not there in the last Parliament, let me tell them, humble addresses already exempt genuine national security. This is not about national security, this is about his job security. His amendment lets him withhold anything to do with international relations. But this whole appointment is to do with international relations. So if they're voting for it, they are voting for the cover-up. If the Prime Minister is serious about national security concerns, then he should ask the Intelligence and Security Committee to decide which documents should be released. Will he commit to doing so here and now?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've set out the process. It won't be a political process. It will be led by the Cabinet Secretary, supported by the government legal teams. But I'm pleased that she, I think, now accepts that at least the first exemption that we've written in to the amendment to the petition is the right amendment in relation to prejudice national security. But she and others behind her will understand that because of the breadth of what's asked for, and we're doing everything we can to make sure this is fully transparent and disclosed, but she and those behind her will understand from their own experience in government the sensitivity of information about security and intelligence and trade relations that are inevitably caught in exchanges of the nature that have been asked for. And it is right that anything that prejudices, not touches on, prejudices international relations is protected within the disclosure.
Just release all the fucking documents.
Then he wouldn't mind if the ISC had a look. And let's be clear, he says the Cabinet Secretary makes it non-political, but that doesn't make it independent. What we want is an independent look. The ISC is independent. The Cabinet Secretary works for him. We know that there will be a cover-up because this implicates the Prime Minister and his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, a protégé of Peter Mandelson. The Prime Minister chose to inject Mandelson's poison into the heart of his government on the advice of Morgan McSweeney. His catastrophic lack of judgment, telling us now that he did know, has harmed the special relationship. It has endangered national security.
So McSweeney's name's come up now as well.
It's compromised our diplomacy and it has embarrassed our nation. After all of this, does he have the same full confidence in Morgan McSweeney that he had in Peter Mandelson?
Prime Minister.
Morgan McSweeney is an essential part of my team. He helped me change the Labour Party and win an election.
And a
of course I have
change.
confidence in him. But, Mr. Speaker, whatever is slung across this dispatch box, I don't think it's right for the Cabinet Secretary to be denigrated in that way, and to suggest that he would be involved in a cover-up. There's the politics that comes
2-0
over
now
dispatch
for the
boxes,
defending
but
champ.
I honestly don't think it's right to impugn the Cabinet Secretary in that way. And I suspect in their heart of hearts, many on those benches would agree. Mr. Speaker,
MIDI doctors, I'm not too sure about that. I think Morgan McSweeney is the only thing keeping Starmer in office at the moment. The knives are out for Keith. The vultures are circling. The Grim Reaper approacheth.
Damn right!
So many metaphors, but yeah, Morgan McSweeney is one of the only things standing between him and a leadership challenge right now. Him being, Labour's equivalent of Dominic Cummings back in the day. But, well, we'll see. There's nobody who Keith wouldn't put down to save his own career, McSweeney included.
I'm as angry as anyone about what Mandelson has been up to. The disclosures that have been made this week of him passing sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 financial crisis.
But
is
to us,
utterly shocking
he's just
and appalling. He's
Peter.
betrayed our country. He's lied repeatedly. He's responsible for a litany of deceit. But this moment demands not just anger, but action. And that's why we've moved quickly, referring material to the police, publishing legislation so we can remove titles from disgraced politicians, and stripping Mandelson of his Privy Councillorship. That is what the public expect, and that is what we will do.
Libens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every month.
I want to see him in prison. That is what I want, nay, demand, Starmer. Every country that uses the euro should be in on this as well, with legislation. If you tip off someone about a massive, massive change on the international currency market, we are talking about a £500 billion bailout. That is undoubtedly going to affect the financial markets and the currency exchanges. Absolutely every single country that used the euro at the time has a legal and vested interest in this, and he shouldn't just be investigated in the UK, he should be investigated throughout Europe and find himself in bars in at least one country. Please, that's what real justice would be, not you kicking the can down the road, inquiry. I don't want to see this going on for years. Hopefully the police will intervene, but we're talking about an establishmentarian, we're talking about an ambassador. Would the UK imprison a former ambassador? Don't know.
People across our
But they
constituencies
should.
are injured by illegal e-bikes being ridden at 30, 40 and 50 miles per hour through our town centres and parks. But for every illegal e-bike that the police seize and crush, another 10 hit our streets because they are too freely available to buy. That's why Cumbria's Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner and 28 other police commissioners across the UK are now backing my bill, which would ban the sale of illegal e-bikes. Will the Prime Minister set out what action the government will take to protect the public and ban the sale of these monster bikes?
Prime Minister.
I just think there needs to be more regulation, especially where the maximum speeds and things like this concerned, and legislation for helmets and safety wear to be mandatory. But I think as a mode of transport, they're perfectly reasonable. Moves like this only dissuade people from moving away from other forms of transport that use fossil fuels, or even driving, short distances, for example, or medium distances that they could go on an e-bike. That's not the problem. The problem isn't the things themselves. It's, like I said, things like the maximum speed and the legislation, because they've just come up out of nowhere. But to ban them wholesale, I think, would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Can I pay tribute to my honourable friend? She's a tireless campaigner to stop these antisocial, dangerous bikes terrorising communities. Our crime and policing bill means police can seize bikes without issuing a warning and destroy them. A product safety law means authorities have the power...
It's not like you can't go those sort of speeds on a push bike. On all push iron, mate, you know, they take up less space as well. See some comments in the chat. The people use them to steal mobile phones from people. They do that on bikes as well, I guess, and on foot, of course, obviously. Scooters and mopeds, particularly notorious for certain types of theft as well. So it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive to e-bikes. I think the whole approach, or the vibe I'm getting from the question and response here, isn't something that I think is well thought out.
...to intervene to stop the sale of unsafe e-bikes, but I share her determination to get these bikes off our streets.
Sir Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Democrats.
He's an asshole.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank you and the Prime Minister for your responses to my tribute to Jim Wallace on Monday, and urge the whole House to read the wonderful tributes made to Jim in the other place yesterday. Mr. Speaker, I've been thinking how it must feel for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and their families, hearing more and more stories of how rich, powerful men were currying favour with a paedophile sex trafficker, such as Peter Mandelson, sending government secrets to help Epstein enrich himself further. Seeing Mandelson made ambassador to the United States, even after his links to Epstein had been extensively reported by both the Financial Times and Channel 4 News.
Yeah.
So can the Prime Minister tell us, given he now admits he knew about those links,
readily available,
before he gave such an important job to one of Epstein's closest friends, did he think at all about Epstein's victims?
Did he balls?
Mr. Speaker, we looked at the material...
He doesn't even think about victims of a genocide, not comparing one evil to another. But no. Don't think he's had an ounce of empathy or sympathy for much since he's been in office, if he ever has.
There was a process, there was then, as he will understand, there was then a security vetting exercise as well. And that's why I started by saying all of our thoughts are with the victims of Epstein. Here's
Security would have had
question to express anger
a good run today, wouldn't
at
it?
the material that has recently come out in relation to sensitive information in the aftermath of the 2008 crash. And that is why yesterday, working with the Cabinet Secretary, we referred a material to the police, which has now led to the criminal investigation that is going to follow.
Mr. Speaker, I think the victims of Jeffrey Epstein deserved far better than that. They deserve Peter Mandelson not being appointed in the first place. We don't even...
Well, they're always the last people to be considered in this whole thing. People are presenting evidence. Their voices have been ignored for some time. They've been trashed by the likes of Trump and called all sorts of horrible, disgusting names, which, having been through what they have historically, is just an even further insult. 100%. They should have the chance to be able to point fingers in court, and they certainly should be listened to a lot more than they are at the moment.
Even know the full extent of the British establishment's involvement in his appalling crimes, or how many British girls and young women were trafficked by him. So we need a full public inquiry.
But we're not talking about one person's word against another here either. We're talking about actual evidence being dismissed, not just verbal evidence given by former victims as well. Speaking of the victims, a lot of them were, the identities were accidentally revealed in undoctored documents that were put out in the last massive cache as well. So they've also had to suffer through that as well.
both to get justice for the victims and to protect our national security. Mr. Speaker, the Polish government think Epstein may have been spying for Vladimir Putin. Is the Prime Minister concerned that Peter Mandelson may have been leaking state secrets, not just to a paedophile American financier, but also a Russian agent?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks of a public inquiry. Obviously, the focus now has to be on the criminal investigation, which is started.
We mentioned this yesterday. You won't see any of these harping on about Mossad or CIA connections, only a muttering of connections to Putin, which is worth noting, not just what they're saying, but what they're not saying, as always. But yeah, this piece of shit had his hands in all kinds of awful business, so it doesn't surprise me, but obviously very telling that they neglect to mention other people he was dealing with as well.
As he knows, that investigation will go wherever the evidence leads it, and I've made it absolutely clear that the government will cooperate, as he would expect, with that criminal investigation wherever it goes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the news that Bristol East will be getting another 3 breakfast clubs. I've seen how these clubs aren't just about making sure that no child starts the school.
I'll check the footsie index now then, shall I? That's really going to Rachel Reeves's plan for growth, for change, for deliver there. Yeah, looking really good. I'm not taking the piss. Obviously, better things for kids is a good thing, but Labour will harp on about throwing some crumbs on the table as though they're the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Day hungry. They're also about giving staff the extra time to spend with the children and to spot whether there might be trouble at home. And on that note, can I urge the Prime Minister to work with schools on our manifesto commitment to identify children with parents in prison to make sure that those children get all the support that they need?
Can I thank her for raising this and confirm that we're looking at how we can strengthen the support in place for these children so no child falls between the cracks. Free breakfast clubs mean every child is fed and ready to learn, and I'm delighted to see 3 more in her constituency as she references. But I also want to mention Rushbrook Primary Academy, Oasis Academy Aspinall, Longsight Community Primary, St Bernard's Roman Catholic Primary School Manchester, all soon operating free breakfast clubs in Gorton and Denton.
They shovel Robert.
What a coincidence that was to see a smattering of new breakfast clubs open up, including where the hot seats Gorton and Denton by-election is to be held. That was 5-1 Labour there with their effort. Don't think Hannah Spencer's going to be sweating over that one.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Llyfarydd. The victims and survivors of Epstein and his circle of overprivileged elite are at the forefront of my mind here and now. Mandelson, we now know, described Epstein's release from prison after being sentenced for child sex offences as Liberation Day. This man's association with Epstein was known when the Prime Minister personally appointed him as the UK's ambassador to the USA.
He did.
How can we trust the Prime Minister's judgment?
They all knew.
And in questioning that, how can we trust him to remain as Prime Minister?
Can I join her in the disgust in the comments that she just
Please save my job.
But to be absolutely clear, the scale and the extent of the relationship between Mandelson and Epstein was not disclosed. On the contrary, it wasn't just not disclosed. Mandelson lied throughout the process.
It did not have to be disclosed. It was publicly available. Your research methods are very poor. How many times does this have to be put to you that we know that you knew? The veil is lifted. You can't defend this. He's got to go. He's got to go.
He lied, and he lied again to my team. But to us, he's just
Speaker. An EU agri-food deal would boost exports and cut supermarket prices. The CBI backs it, and according to Best for Britain's polling, 62% of the public do. But surprise, surprise, Reform oppose it. I thought the member for Ashfield wanted 30p food. Does the Prime Minister agree that while some opposite prefer temper tantrums with Brussels, this Labour government must build closer ties with Europe to cut the price of the weekly shop?
Well, Mr. Speaker, right, the deal...
And that were this week's planted question from Yorkshire.
...that we've struck with the EU means lower prices at the checkout, more choice on the shelf, and more money in people's pockets. It's good for British fishers and farmers who face less red tape, selling our world-class produce into the crucial market. It comes alongside the opportunity for young people to work, travel across Europe, the work we're doing to cut energy bills and closer work on defence. All of this is opposed by Reform and the Tories, who sold the myth, botched Brexit, and left families and businesses paying the price.
Charlie Juhas.
Mr. Speaker, now I'll give the Prime Minister some brief respite from Peter Mandelson. However, he will also be familiar with the name Phil Shiner, the disgraced lawyer who was struck off and convicted for repeatedly inventing vexatious cases against British troops in Iraq. So it is something of a surprise that the Prime Minister authored a chapter in Mr. Shiner's book about pursuing our veterans via the ECHR. So can I ask him specifically, was he ever instructed by Mr. Shiner's law firm, Public Interest Lawyers, to act in any legal case?
Let me be absolutely clear about this. As soon as there were any allegations of wrongdoing by Phil Shiner, I've had absolutely nothing to do with him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In Aldershot and Farnborough this year, we are looking forward to hosting the National Celebrations for Armed Forces Day in the home of the British Army. Businesses in my community welcome this government's record investment in defence in the years ahead, but our banks still struggle.
Or you go out and get your industrial military complex t-shirt and cap right now. Colour coordinated. Yeah, you can, get ones with a light up neon sign as well if you want for a bit extra. I'll just put an order in for you now. Just in another one with added lettering on the back. I love war. How's about that one? Balls to peace. Let's have nukes. Yeah, what are you? Yeah. Go and sing it in the streets, sister. Fucking hell.
To lend to defence companies because of international regulations. Will the Prime Minister ensure that the UK works with Canada and our other allies to found the multilateral Defence, Security and Resilience Bank so that we can get money moving to our defence industries, get our armed forces what they need and stand firm against our adversaries?
Well, I'm delighted that Aldershot will be hosting Armed Forces Day.
You know what, if they turned around and told us that Trump's not going to refuse to stand down and make himself an authoritarian dictator with a third term and then go to war with the whole world, I'd almost buy that's the reason why we need to raise our defence spending. And I know it isn't. The first part was not so much of a joke about Chump. Trump, refusing to leave come the end of his second term. But we'll soon see. The latter, though, on defence spending, that is, no. This isn't where our taxes should be going. If there was as much enthusiasm for fighting climate breakdown and climate collapse, then as there was for war and arms, then we'd soon find ourselves out of a lot of literal hotspots.
Because they've got a hard-working Labour MP and a Labour council. Our historic defence spending uplift must be an engine for growth and jobs here in the United Kingdom. That's why we're committed to spending an extra £2.5 billion with SMEs. I do agree with her, it's vital that we work in lockstep with our allies. particularly in Europe, to enhance and align our defence capabilities. We're therefore working at pace to identify the most effective mechanisms for greater multilateral cooperation.
Dr. Neil Hudson.
That was so boardroom talky, wasn't it? That was so business meetingy. It just, you know, to him it sounds like an answer, but it isn't an answer. It's a very long-winded way of saying you will do some things. And it's not that I don't understand the language, that it's a concept that my low brain does not compute. It is just hollow nonsense.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, for months our communities in Epping have been deeply distressed by the Bell Hotel reopening as an asylum hotel. My thoughts remain with the victims of the sexual assaults, including the 14-year-old...
They won't be happy until they all just, like, vaporise, will they? Okay, so one thing you do have to accept that they are here. These are asylum seekers waiting for their claims to be processed. Most of them will be accepted through the asylum system. Some weren't, some won't. And there are also, of course, some who are a minority of a minority who are illegal migrants, and an even small minority within that minority of minorities commit crimes, as I'm sure the example this guy's about to go into would remind us. But where would you have them go? They just literally can't vanish into thin air. And then, put them all... and then you're back in the situation that the Tories were in. Put them back in a boat and send them to a country that won't take them. They're spending a lot of taxpayers' money in the process and it not being effective whatsoever. Just use your heads. Common sense. At least a bit of sympathy or empathy, at least. If not an understanding for the asylum system process in itself before you ask these ridiculous questions as though you expect asylum seekers to just vanish into thin air.
Epping schoolgirl. That trauma compounded by the offender's mistaken release from prison. Weekly protests continue, some of which have become violent, with injuries to 10 brave police officers. I am very grateful to the Asylum Minister for meeting with me recently about this untenable situation. But will the Prime Minister please listen, act now, close the Bell Hotel once and for all, and help restore our town of Epping?
Or could you not do something to sort out the far-right mob? Should that not really be the priority?
As he knows, we are committed to ending the use of all hotels. There are now just under 200 compared to the 400 under the previous government. And where military sites are used, safety and security of local communities is our priority.
Jonathan Blash.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hartlepool has now the third highest number of children in care in England, fuelled by Southern Council shipping families to my town, blowing a £6 million hole in our budget, a deficit that my brilliant Labour Council has already halved. But there is nothing left to cut. And when percentage increases in funding mean less in Hartlepool than almost anywhere else in the country, but a child in care costs exactly the same, the fair funding settlement announced in December does not go far enough. I am fighting non-stop for a better deal for my town because I will not accept one of the poorest communities in the country being condemned to higher taxes or devastating austerity. We need support. So will the PM commit his ministers to work across government to fix this for Hartlepool?
Well, it's because of strong local Labour MPs, but like my honourable friend, that towns like Hartlepool, treated as an afterthought by the party opposite, are having their future restored. We're making billions more available so that councils can properly fund social care. And we're driving down the cost of living for parents and their children, including 3 free breakfast clubs in his constituency, over 3,000 children no longer incapacitated by the 2-child limit. That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Mr. Speaker, my residents are sick of being let down by Thames Water. Robert and Patricia were sent a £39,000 bill they didn't actually owe. Len and Jenny were forced to use the Portaloo for months as sewage filled their home, and parents still think twice about sending their children to swim in the river. Now, we understand a £16 billion rescue deal is soon to cross the Prime Minister's desk. Will he admit today what everyone already knows? That Thames water is dead in the water. Any delay is pointless, and it should be allowed to be put out of its misery and rebuilt as a company for public benefit.
Well, can I thank her for...
She's very careful with her words there. Not to say brought into public ownership, but for public benefit. I think that might have been deliberate. Let's see what Keith says.
Raising that, and I know how much and important it is for her constituents. We have taken measures in relation to strengthening oversight and the control that we have. We won't hesitate to go further, and I'll make sure she gets a meeting with the relevant minister to discuss.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was a privilege the weekend to...
What was that? From Hoyle, who's been most passive this week compared to last week. But he appeared to just go, look, and then the guy stood up. They generally just get up without being prompted by him anyway. That's the sort of lack of respect for his authority that they have. But let's just hear that one again, because I'm pretty sure he just went,
and important it is for her constituents. We have taken measures in relation to strengthening oversight and the control that we have. We won't hesitate to go further, and I'll make sure she gets a meeting with the relevant minister to discuss.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was a privilege the weekend to join fellow North East MPs on the destroyer HMS Duncan, to meet the crew and also be briefed on the exciting plans.
No idea what this, unless his name is...
the innovative future of the Royal Navy. A future that should be bright given the £10 billion frigate deal with Norway, but also a future we absolutely want our region to be part of. So would the Prime Minister agree that given the North East strengths in AI, satellite technology and advanced manufacturing, North East workers and businesses should be at the heart of the future hybrid navy, and will ministers meet us and industry leaders to put the North East at the heart of our future defence?
Mr. Speaker, can I first thank the commanding officer and crew of HMS Duncan for their service, and thank my honourable friend. I remember meeting the brilliant workforce in his region, and I know the defence ministers would be delighted to do the same. Our record defence spending is supporting jobs and growth across the North East. We invested £200 million in Octric semiconductors in his constituency last year. As we increase defence spending, the North East will play a major role securing good skilled jobs for generations to come.
Christine Jardine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate myself with the comments of my party leader about Lord Wall?
Every time anyone gets up where he wants the wallet opened, where defence is concerned, he's like, yeah, come one, come all, whatever you want. I'll write you a blank cheque of taxpayers' money for all of that. And then someone else goes, oh, God, all our kids are starving. Well, we opened up 3 new breakfast clubs 150 miles away from where you live, so you can sit down and shut the F up.
A man I feel I was privileged.
That's what you get from Keith.
But can I ask the Prime Minister, given the conversations which are taking place in this place today and up and down the country about Peter Mandelson and his involvement with the paedophile who trafficked women, and the millions of women,
caught me off guard,
particularly in this country, who will have been triggered by that, given the establishment's proximity to what happened, will the Prime Minister assure that there will be support set up, helplines, and that as well as the victims, the direct victims, those indirect women who've been triggered now will be supported?
Well, she's right to raise this, and obviously we'll support the police on the one hand with their investigation, but also we will press on with our work to halve violence against women and girls, which is very much about putting the support in place that is needed for all victims of violence. That is a crucial part of our work, and I hope we can work across the House in support of it.
Ellen Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm proud that Labour MPs voted yesterday to remove the 2-child limit and lift 400,000 children out of poverty. But child poverty...
Oh, yes, of course. The very legislation that Labour put in themselves and also removed the whip from anybody who voted against it. Of course, Angela Rayner is behind you there. I don't know if anybody else had noticed that. Just wanted to point that out as an aside. But to try and celebrate removing something that you were forced into doing a U-turn on as your greatest achievement, what does that say about your tenure in government? You would have kept it if you would have gotten away with it, if there wasn't so much backlash. And I'm pretty sure that on doorsteps all across the country, wherever Labour have been campaigning and losing in by-elections and whatnot, it's come up quite a lot, the 2-child benefit cap. It's your idea. It's almost unbelievable that we went through a decade and a half of the Tories and even they didn't do such a thing. So the rah should really be hang your heads in shame, should be an embarrassment.
Cannot be eradicated while children are living in overcrowded temporary accommodation without their own bed or anywhere to do their homework. So will the Prime Minister commit to urgent and persistent action to drive down the use of temporary accommodation, ensuring that our councils, including my councils of Lambeth and Southwark, have the funding they need in the final local government finance settlement next week?
Well, can I join her in the pride in voting to remove 500,000 children from poverty and lift them out of poverty after hundreds of thousands were plunged into poverty by the party opposite when they were in government. On the point she raised about temporary accommodation, she's right that every child deserves a safe, warm and secure home. We're investing a record £3.5 billion in homelessness services and £950 million in local authority housing fund to deliver better quality temporary accommodation.
Mr. Speaker, how we answer SEND families' call for justice will measure who we are. Christopher Lascaris was autistic and murdered aged 24. His mother, Fiona, who is here, spent 8 years begging authorities to protect him, but they refused because they presumed he had mental capacity. So will the Prime Minister support Christopher's law, creating a duty to assess mental capacity where it is in doubt to save the lives of others?
Can I thank him for his question and for his tireless campaigning on behalf of Christopher and Fiona, who, as he points out, is with us today. Christopher's death was a tragedy, and I agree that we owe it to Fiona. I'm glad that she's here to hear it, and other families, of course, to get this right. I can reassure him that work is underway to examine what action is necessary to prevent further tragedies like this. That comes alongside our intention to consult on the liberty protection safeguards this year, and I'll make sure that he is fully updated on as the work progresses across government, and I would ask that he make sure that Fiona and others are updated as well.
Ben Goldsborough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. From heat-tolerant rice trials to world-leading science at the Earlham Institute and the John Innes Centre on the Norwich Research Park, South Norfolk is helping feed the world. Will the Prime Minister secure a clear carve-out for precision breeding in any future SPS agreement with the EU so Britain can continue to lead on this field?
Well, can I thank him for raising it? As negotiations are ongoing, we remain committed, he'll be pleased to know, to the Precision Breeding Act and supporting new innovative technologies. And the EU accepts there will need to be areas where we retain our own rules, and we'll always prioritise British interests as we negotiate our SPS agreement.
Caroline Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, I've been campaigning for a Lincoln Dental School for some years, and I'm pleased to be able to tell the House that thanks to the hard work of, amongst others, Professor Juster, Professor Reid and Susie McPherson, Lincoln Medical School are now in a position to take their first cohort from 2027. So can I ask the Prime Minister, will he provide the necessary funding for this cohort of students to start to help improve the oral health of people right across Lincolnshire?
Well, I'm pleased to hear the news about the dental school in her constituency, and we have put in further funding in relation to dentistry. We were left with a dental desert across many parts of the country. We're fixing that problem, but I'm glad to hear the news in her constituency.
Ollie Billings.
Thank you, Mr.
Did they come up with the question just to introduce the phrase dental desert? I don't know, maybe.
Speaker. As the Prime Minister pointed out, today is World Cancer Day. As outlined in our cancer plan, early detection and diagnosis is vital. Will the Prime Minister agree to consider the campaign by my constituent Gemma Reeves, who is a nurse at the Queen Elizabeth Queen Mother Hospital, to ensure breast cancer screening for all women over the age of 40, and meet her to discuss how such a change would save lives?
Not seen him yet. Is Streeting there?
Well, I'd absolutely support that, and I'll make sure she
Cutaway
gets a
shot.
meeting with the relevant minister, because early diagnosis is so important.
There he is, of course.
For all cancers, and we must do everything we can to ensure that our early diagnosis is the absolute norm and never the default.
Wimp! Final question, Solidari-Tea.
Nubbin!
Who's that right back there? Oh, yeah. That's Suella Braverman, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Representing Reform now. What's she going to ask? Fucking hell.
She's new. Give her a moment.
Sort this bloody rabble out, Hoyle, for God's sake.
I recently met one of the bravest women I know. Elizabeth was 14 when she was raped in Rotherham. She is one of the survivors of the rape gangs, one of the biggest national scandals in our history. Whilst her first rapist was convicted and sentenced, Ashgar Bostan, she was subsequently, shockingly, allegedly abused by police officers serving in South Yorkshire Police. One of those officers remained...
I'm certain that I've heard about this case. It is absolutely heinous. Unfortunately, Reform going to use this as an anti-immigration shtick. But the case itself, just individually, is it just beggars belief how disgusting it is.
...on active service today. Elizabeth made complaint through Operation Linden. None of them were followed up. She rightly feels betrayed and failed by the very institution designed to protect her. Will the Prime Minister meet with Elizabeth, rape gang survivors and myself to commit that those who committed and covered up these abhorrent offences are put behind bars where they belong?
Yeah. Well, I'm deeply concerned about the facts she's just outlined, and if she could give us all the details of that, I'll make sure that there is a relevant meeting and follow-up in relation to those concerns.
Point of order, Sir David Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today's debate will
Points of
focus
order.
on Mandelson and his relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, but that's end of session. Just sneaking one more in there, getting 19 in total in the end. Not contributing to the league, of course, but it was bound to come up quite a lot, wasn't it? So let's make it official just before we finish proceedings there. 19 mentions for Mandelson, but more importantly, where the league is concerned, a 2-0 win for Change, the defending champion. Not one mention for Fix, who I thought would do quite a bit better, but that's the second time of asking, with nothing on the board yet for Knob the Builder. So duly update the league. And that is it for another week of Keith's Catchphrases.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver black hole plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Didn't get as spicy as I thought it would. But it was certainly very telling, especially concerning what Starmer did know about Mandelson prior to his appointment. I guess I shared my feelings with you during the session there. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the chat. We have Davinia in the chat, just joining us as well. Nice to see you. A very good evening. Please do vote in the poll. We must have a winner this evening. There can be only one. It's Highlander rules. It's either clear or commitments. My commitment is clear. There must be a winner. Is that clear? Because we're committed to this. And whoever wins will be next week's challenger as well, as we did say. How many more sessions has Keith got though? Because could be circling the drain. I saw a few comments in the chat there thinking, obviously, McSweeney could be one of the victims here. He'd be more than happy to throw McSweeney under a bus. Figuratively speaking, of course. Like we said during the session as well. Anyone could go. Anyone could go. For now, we'll move on and look at a couple of polls.
On with it. Yes, get on with it!
I'll move on to the national poll in a moment. First of all, just want to share this one with you. I don't know if you saw it earlier, because I'm sure you all follow Stats for Lefties as recommended by this channel. A great source for polls, combining polls as well, and poll analysis. You always have to take them with a pinch of salt, of course, but they're one of the few barometers that we do have, unless you want to go around every door in the UK and ask personally. I strongly recommend you don't. But where left-wing politics is concerned, the Socialist vote, there's still somewhat of a difference in polling between your party and the Greens. Obviously, Zach Polanski coming out of nowhere, winning the Green leadership race, and then going above and beyond and still in ascent as I speak. I believe they're on 190,000 members now, is it? Or is it just 90? Point being, when you look at the trends from around roughly the same time, because the announcement of your party and Polanski first of all announcing he was running and then winning by a pretty clear margin, let's be honest. We're very close together, so it's been pretty easy to track both, and that's what Stats for Lefties have done with this poll here. It speaks for itself in terms of current position and direction since August of last year. The Green Party currently, according to this poll, on 11.7%, with your party on 1.7%. Considering the fact that the inaugural conference was back in November, you can still see a further decline. In fact, January itself being a particularly steep month of decline for your party. But also, it's almost a mirror image. I obviously, correlation doesn't mean causation, but I would certainly strongly suggest that there is a positive correlation between these two facts. Especially when you look at January there, and that's when Polanski was making some decent appearances, as well as having that viral promo video out, millions of views. The one where he's running around Manchester as well, his appearance at the club, and Now this race in Gorton and Denton, of course, current hot seat here on My Left Eye. But we're not going to go into Gorton and Denton with the hot seat feature on tonight's live stream. Just wanted to share this stat with you. Now, your party still have to get their leadership together. There are 2 slates out at the moment. We spoke of well, both slates yesterday, but mostly the grassroots left slate, which put out that it can only be described as an embarrassing statement, really, regarding not supporting the Greens. And this was while Zara Sultana herself was saying that she'd happy to support the Greens. There was no way that your party could have put up a candidate anyway, because essentially, long story short, they've just not gotten the ducks in a row. They've just not got their shit together. So conceded that obviously there won't be your party candidate, and wished Polanski the best of luck. Meanwhile, the backlash against that statement has been quite visceral. I've noticed a few other channels have done video content about it as well, so do check that out as well. I think Turn Left and No Justice being 2 particular examples that I've seen. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it, as I pointed out on last night's Brews at 10 as well. The reason for that, or the author of it, or whatever, has not been revealed as far as I'm aware. So here we are, February 2026, and some 10% between the two. That is in polling and favourability. So let's see how that works out on a national level, because your party are also included in this national poll from Stats for Lefties. But notably, ironically, on this chart on the far right is your party, and on the far left is Reform. Somewhat skewed from reality in terms of politics. No, but seriously, 0.3%. It's a start. It's not zero, I guess. Your party can look at it that way. I think that's likely to change once a figurehead has been established, like I've said quite a few times now. To have one leader, I think, is particularly important. Some sort of figurehead, imagery, optics, all that sort of thing come into play where that's concerned. And at the moment, your party don't have it. All they have is sort of squabbling and whatnot. But I would like to see them resolve all of that and strengthen the vote on the left. What else is quite notable, actually, of course, Labour down another couple of points as always, but Reform are down by 3.6 according to this one, and the Greens have gone up 1.6, but Lib Dem have also advanced the same amount as the Tories with 2.7. Not sure what the reasoning behind that one is. Are people starting to believe in Badenoch? Perhaps. Dread the thought. Hope not. Those recent defections as well don't seem to have worked out well for Reform, if this poll is correct. Of course, Jenrick and Suella Braverman, who we saw in PMQs there, two of the recent defectors. But that's also good news for Hannah Spencer, an overall drop in polling with things being neck and neck, and there still being, what, 2.5 weeks to go? Oh, sorry, it's over 3 weeks. Yeah. If that trend continues, could see the Greens get ahead in Gorton and Denton. Convincingly. Well, let's see. Let's hope. Yeah, there's no Welsh Independence Party on there, nor played Cymru. But there is SNP. I'm uncertain. You'd have to ask Freshwater Strategies about that one. But worth mentioning. Definitely worth mentioning. Solidarity with the Scottish and the Welsh here on the channel. So that poll took place between the 31st of January and the 1st of February this year. Inclusive, I'd imagine. So for now, it's Rise Greens Rise. Hopefully, can't get my words out tonight. I am on tea, I assure you. A good point in the chats as well, Graham. Collective vote for the right still 70%. That's still far too high. We've got to push that left vote, people. We really do.
Can you dig it?
Right, on to another matter. Other matters now, people. Let's get on with it.
On with it. Yes, get on with it.
The Filton 24. Yeah, this is a case that we've mentioned quite a bit about on the channel. Some great news today. Some positive news. That's good to have something to focus on for a change. Just bring this up for you. Got a bit of buffering here on the studio at my end. Hope things are good for you. I'll just quickly get this clip up. Anyway, hope I'm coming through loud and clear. Oh, should be. And we're in the right window. There we go. Oh, it's back up now, I think. Sorry if anybody had some buffering there. Looks like we're all good. Yeah, this is just a snippet from the P.O.V article about this, but of course great news. Six acquittals. However, one of the protesters has been held back. Let's just watch this mini article first.
6 Palestine Action protesters have all been cleared of aggravated burglary over a break-in at an Israeli arms company factory in Bristol in 2024. The jury at Woolwich Crown Court deliberated for 36 hours but could not reach verdicts on the other charges, including an allegation of grievous bodily harm against one protester who was accused of hitting a police officer with a sledgehammer. Our home and legal correspondent Dominic Casciani reports. A dramatic raid in the dead of night.
This was the moment that Palestine Action activists broke into a defence firm in Bristol in August 2024. They believed weapons and military hardware in this factory were being sent to Israel to be used in Gaza.
They are. They are.
And then it all began to go wrong. The 6 Palestine Action members in red suits clashed with security guards. Leona Cameo on the right holding a sledgehammer. The aspiring pop star and nursery worker, described by her boss as compassionate and empathetic, told jurors there was no plan to be violent. She and all the others were cleared by the jury of aggravated burglary, the crime of intending to be violent during a break-in. When Leona Cameo was arrested, Samuel Corner heard her scream. He was accused of striking Police Sergeant Kate Evans on the back with a sledgehammer. She suffered a fracture to her spine and hasn't yet returned to full duties. Corner, who studied at Oxford University, said he was defending his friend. Today the jury was unable to reach a verdict on the charge that he'd caused grievous bodily harm with intent.
But Sam's the one who wasn't actually released today, just to point that out. I'm not sure if the BBC will, but you'll get that from my left eye.
The 6 highlighted this incident in which Jordan Devlin was pushed to the floor, telling jurors the security guard had overreacted. The jury were unable to reach a verdict as to whether Samuel Corner, Leona Cameo or Charlotte Head had committed violent disorder. But Zoe Rogers, seen here, Fatima Rajwani and Jordan Devlin were cleared of that offence. Miss Rogers' mother says the 22-year-old had been horrified by the war in Gaza.
She wanted to effect change, she wanted to save lives, she wanted to stop our country arming Israel. She felt that guilt of complicity very strongly.
Tonight, supporters of the 6 were jubilant. The group said their action had been morally justified to stop what they believed was genocide, and the jury couldn't decide whether any were guilty of criminal damage. But the Crown Prosecution Service wants a retrial of the outstanding charges. This case is not completely over yet.
Yeah, so once again, where Sam Power is concerned, he could face a retrial as well. But apart from that, it's really good news. I'm sure that they're all relieved, and this goes to show a couple of things really. First of all, why we do need jury trials, and I also suspect it's one of the reasons why the current government wants to scrap them for a lot of cases, and that would include these kind of charges as well, because it's not just Pal Action protesters, DOJ protesters as well currently. Either going through the court process or in prison. So, what can you say? Well done to the jury. Yeah, base jury, as you point out in the chat there, Davinia. And they're a fundamental part of the justice system, and to scrap them would just be completely draconian and authoritarian. So there, 6 happy faces there, but that's just 6 out of 24. Let's hope that we get some more good news from this group still to come. Really, I'm happy for them. That's great stuff. That really is. Well done. Yeah, good points in the chats. The real terrorists went to Monster Island for parties. Aaron, all cases under 3 years, how do they know in advance? I think what's been proposed at the moment is cases where the legislation allows for certain maximum sentences or is under certain categories. It's not very clearly defined at the moment, but it shouldn't happen anyway. Yeah, it's central to British justice. It's something that we've had since the Magna Carta. And you can't exactly ask your nan about that one. Shout out for the Filton 24 just once more.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Speaking of shout-outs, let's give another shout-out to the members on the channel. Thanks for your gifts on tonight's stream and last night's as well. Currently on 190 towards 250. Can we break the 200 barrier for the first time ever this week, people? Let's see. Thank you very much for all of your contributions. Just a reminder, super chats, super stickers are still open if you're watching live. If you're watching back later on, you might want to use super thanks, and there's a buy me a coffee page in the description of this stream. So please hit all supportive buttons, people. Thumbs up and share. Check out some of our recent content as well. We'd be much obliged. And you can join this list of awesome supports for just 99p, a fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage. So please do consider that. Hit the join button if you want to find out more about the perks. You'll get to see some videos first, you'll get to see some videos exclusively. You'll get to use static emojis on streams like this one, and so many other reasons. So yeah, hit those buttons, people. Thank you very much.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Alas, time has got the better of us for this evening. But we'll be back with more live streams later in the week. Do stick around though. I've got a raid set up into the excellent No Justice. So stay around for that. Make sure that you hit the buttons when you get there as well. Thumbs up on the stream and subscribe if you don't know the channel already. I'm sure that you'll enjoy it if you're not familiar with it. Okay, we're all good to go. The only thing that remains, people, is for me to announce the winner of the poll, which will be next week's challenger in Keith's Catchphrases. And with 64 to 36, the winner is clearly clear. So thank you very much to everybody who voted in the poll. Clear will be the latest contender. It's been decided, finally. Awesome. Of course, another round of PMQs next week. For tonight though, whatever you do, take care of yourselves. Free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan and Yemen, and all of the Filton 24, of course. Don't let the bastards grind you down, and my left eye will be seeing you soon. Good night. And thank you very much for the super chat, Graham. Awesome way to finish off the stream. Big up Graham in the chat, please. I'll just do that myself. There we go, in the chats. Thanks again, Graham. I'll see you over at No Justice, hopefully. Alright.
Do you know these tits, Errol?
I know a lot of tits, Governor, but I don't know any quite as stupid as these two.
$24,000. That's 24,120.